If you like barbarians and you like a little bit of fantasy and action, then I definitely think this game could be of interest to you. The story is straight to the point. You return to your homeland after 20 winters away, and you learn that the area has been taken over by an evil wizard who wants complete domination. You must travel through a variety of regions to find the dragon, who can then take you to the castle of the evil wizard Hagma. But to better see if this could be a game for you, let's jump into my thoughts on Beholgar. The first thing that caught my attention was the music in the first area. Having that solid opening theme can set the tone for the rest of the playthrough, and this good music kept up for the remainder of the game. My personal favorite was the theme of the witch's cemetery. You'd imagine a darker setting like this would have a scarier sound, but instead, it kept this area lively and adventurous despite the enemies here consisting of ghouls and demon dogs. You'll find that every region has unique enemies to them that helps keep the experience fresh. You can only find Cyclops in Glacierland, you can only fight these snake warriors in Snake Castle, and you can only take on whatever these are in Hemon Valley. Knowing every area had a fresh take on its environment kept me interested in seeing what was next. And I love that this game didn't just use elements to switch themes. So instead of just having water and fire areas, you have a medieval looking graveyard, a valley with purple rocks, and my favorite one, the Snake Castle. Sure, there were some more basic areas, but because of the unique enemies and amazing soundtrack, each region was brought to life in their own way. You can see the map of the world from the beginning of the game, so from the start, I was looking forward and seeing what the snake area actually was. It's unfortunate that the background aesthetic here wasn't as lively as some of the others, because the pixel art in this game is gorgeous. Besides just the backgrounds being pleasant to look at, the foregrounds were also full of little details such as maybe some blood on spikes, or skeletons scattered around the ground. I know that doesn't seem like much, but this helps make the world livelier and more immersive. The design of this is that of a Metroidvania. You find new abilities and weapons that allow you to progress in areas that you couldn't get to before. But instead of it being one large interconnected map, it's broken down into regions, which is why I wouldn't consider it a full-fledged Metroidvania. Each area is connected in some capacity, such as crossing a bridge or taking a boat, which does help keep it more authentic. However, it's clear these could all play as their own levels, but you will have to return to them once you do find the new abilities, so for this, I would consider it more of a Metroidvania than an action platformer. Plus, the gameplay is most reminiscent to the fan favorite, Castlevania. You'll find yourself slashing at enemies and shooting them from afar with a variety of projectile weapons. You also have the ability of rolling to evade enemy attacks. However, it's not too helpful as you can't actually roll behind the enemies, as doing so will damage you. So I highly recommend you save up the 1500 and purchase the amulet that allows you to do this without losing health. There's only a few things you can buy at the old forest town, so I didn't pay much attention to it and focused on the exploration instead. During my exploration, I overcame plenty of challenging platforming obstacles that I found myself dying a lot from. The platforming is more challenging than the combat in Beholgar, but your health meter goes quick, so you do not want to find yourself being attacked too much. The enemies each only have one attack, but they move quick, so you must always be ready to evade. You especially need to watch for the ones that can infect you, because that will almost surely kill you and frustrated me plenty. Their mobility is the biggest challenge because most do die with just a few hits, but some of the projectile based enemies will 100% catch you. The axe throwing skeletons somehow control where it goes. I mean, look at this. And these flying enemies in Hemon killed me so many times due to my lack of weapon awareness. So you can find new weapons throughout the story like the axe, but majority of them can be discovered just due to exploration, and they do make a difference depending on the enemy in front of you. Once I found the dragon sword, which plays like the axe, I started beating these guys pretty easily. There's also abilities to discover to help you access new areas that you can also use for platforming or combat. The ice spell was definitely a fun feature that I wasn't expecting from a game like this, and it even became a staple to the gameplay for completing the later half of the journey. It doesn't do damage to enemies like the projectiles you use, which you can swap out by defeating enemies or breaking vases. I preferred the fire spell, but Beholgar gives you the freedom to choose which playstyle suits you the most. I will say the gameplay can be jumpy at times and skip frames occasionally, and this did cause me to die a few times during some obstacles, but it was not apparent enough for me to ever put the game down or complain. So if you can handle some minor bugs, it shouldn't be of worry to you. Now, my biggest critique is the way that fast travel works. You can only choose which region you want to visit. You can't pick the exact save point to return to, which did result in some unfulfilling backtracking. Besides that, I found the combat and platforming to be a pleasant and challenging experience. Of course, in a setting like this, you can also expect to find some interesting bosses. Right off the bat, I'll say I was disappointed with some of the designs of these bosses, but they did get better after the first two. Each boss only has 2 attacks that can be challenging to dodge at times, but once you find the rhythm, it gets much easier. It would have been nice to have had more phases to each fight, but after the human bosses, I was having fun with the other encounters, which ranged from giant bugs to the ancient wizard himself. But my favorite one by far was the ancient snake. A pixelated graphic would occasionally appear between areas, and this is what appeared when you entered the snake castle. From the start, I was excited to get to this point, and once I did, I found him wrapped around some stone and shooting fireballs at me. The design of the ancient snake was amazing, and I found the fight to be challenging. I would have loved more bosses like this, but I'm overall pleased with the ones I did get to face. Beholgar is full of unique enemies and areas that will keep you engaged throughout your playthrough, and you can also expect to run into a handful of challenging platforming obstacles preventing you from breezing through the game. So if you enjoy some high quality music, challenging platforming and combat, and some amazing pixelated visuals, then I highly recommend checking out Beholgar. I had a great time with this game, and even though the exploration is limited, there's still plenty for you to explore, which is exactly why I consider it more of a mini-Metroidvania. I played this on the Switch with the SNES controller because I wanted that more authentic feel, since this game looks like it's probably from the 90s, but it's really compatible with anything, so I hope you all enjoyed the review, and until next time, peace out.